Accounting versus IT, a battle that should not be, but alas. If you think that this is not relevant to you because it is not happening in your company, think again. In a previous video, I went into more detail about the challenges of IT and accounting collaboration. This video is a summary of that longer video I posted on YouTube. So, if you would like to see the full explanation, please visit my website on vivek.co.za or my YouTube channel. Just to mention that as a chartered accountant, I am coming in this from all angles because I have seen it all. Number one, working on and reviewing output produced by major accounting packages. Number two, designing new accounting packages and requirements for the IT department. Number three, producing accounting packs for the auditors when they come into audit. Number four, auditing process audit packs produced by the client so that when we come into audit, it is ready. And on a strategic level, I have seen, number one, requesting information in a summary format that we as board members need to make strategic decisions. Number two, instructing database management and IT departments what information is required by the board. And number three, reviewing and making sense of information provided. Unfortunately, there is a massive disconnect and often friction and aggression created between accounting and IT. It is not anybody's fault, and no one is blaming anyone else. However, our training curriculums differ. The reason for this is a topic for another day. IT people are not taught complex accounting concepts, and nor should they be. And accountants are not taught complex IT concepts and coding, and nor should they be. Accounting people, this leaves an impasse, and unfortunately, I've seen major and massive international accounting packages built that have clearly been designed by IT solely. This makes it user unfriendly, and in this age, you will not believe how user unfriendly it is. For example, if you want to look at the results for year 2025, month January, and you need to know that you need to look at year 7, period 56. And if you need region Gauteng, branch Cresta for that very same period, you need to know that you must find GAU CRE 756. If you don't know that code, you will never have access to that data. Also, if you wanted to see the sales for that business unit, you will need to know which sales you are talking about. And if it is machine sales, then you will need to look for this code, FOM, for machine sales. Who makes up these codes? And make no mistake, your accounting department staff right now are fully proficient with all these codes. It is part of their job and they have to know it. It is non-negotiable. If they are processing an accounting transaction to bank, they need these codes. They cannot do their jobs if they do not know these various complex codes. I wish I could say that I was kidding, but I am not. Also remember that I am coming in from an angle of actually working on different systems, and one is not better than the other in my experience. So why is the system that I have designed going to bridge the gap? No business is too small or too big. You all pay massive subscriptions for your accounting packages and update rollouts. All requests for assistance with getting the model working in your company by getting Excel to talk with your accounting packages, such as even Sage, will receive attention. You will not be ignored by me. The logic is that the data is dumped into Excel in a read-only format, so that no changes are made to the original data. So there is no risk of the tainting of your accounting records in the system. Again, this is a read-only format. And without boring you with the technical details, a live link to the data table is created in Excel. Yes, Excel can easily do this. Excel can deal with this. It can handle more than 1 million lines of data in a single spreadsheet. And we all know Excel has multiple spreadsheets. And it can link a number of databases and accounting packages easily just by creating a link which can be refreshed at any time. Once the data is in Excel, this is then the game changer. Us accountants can go through this and produce it in a format that we want to see it in Excel using pivot tables and VBA models, etc. Again, without boring you with the technical details, accountants need to see a trial balance which balances and which can show the previous year's comparisons, which agrees to the audited financial statements. Seems obvious, but it is difficult to explain this to IT people. No offense or disrespect to any IT coders, project managers, or executives, but to repeat, you are not trained in technical accounting issues, and we were not trained in complex IT programming concepts. Similar to legal people, when I had to help them with the technical definitions of shareholders' equity and interest-bearing debt in defining covenant concepts, it is not that they are deficient. It is just that this is not their field. For example, they taught me the difference between a guarantee and a suretyship, and they taught me what it means when they use the word shall versus must and will. You will be amazed at the differences. Wow. Now, all of this will be okay if the accounting and IT people work together. However, we all know about human dynamics and powerful egos where everybody thinks that they are the smartest person in the room, and they need to prove their points. You may not want to admit it, but if you look back, you will realize that you were in a meeting such as this, and it will probably be in the next meeting that you will be attending. Again, this is a topic for another day. The result is explosive friction, and the point is made in the video that after months of IT and accounting department meetings, where scrupulous notes are taken by IT and diagrams and timelines are agreed upon, when the final model required package is presented, and the accounting people say, this page has a list of numbers, can we have a total please? Or please, can you show a VAT amount? All hell breaks loose. The IT people spend days combing through their notes and diagrams and come back to explain to the accountants that they never requested a total or a VAT amount according to their meticulous analysis of the meeting notes. I repeat, days, sometimes weeks to do this, when it would take just a few hours to add a sum function or a VAT calculation in the background code. But however, they will spend days explaining to you why you are deficient. I was in a situation where the board asked for monthly management accounts showing interest breakdowns separately. When I simply requested this from the IT data management department, it took 5 meetings with them because they had to explain to me why it was so difficult to do this, and that they need to know exactly which interest I was referring to, because apparently there are many different definitions of interest stored in the tables somewhere under the hood. Long story short, I requested read-only access to the database management, and when I got it, within hours of looking at it, I found the interest that the board wanted. It was the one that is in the trial balance, the one that goes to the financial statements. However, after discussion with IT and database data warehouse people, where they took it upon themselves to educate me each time about how stupid I was to request interest from them, the only way to get it to satisfy the board requirements was to get it myself. Maybe your environment is different, and it should be. It should not be as bad as this, but it is, unfortunately, and people are not cooperating with each other, but each department wants to prove that they are much smarter than the other department. Case in point, I am a chartered accountant who has taken an avid interest in IT and programming, Excel VBA models, IT systems, etc. Such interest in a buildup of knowledge has come over a number of years of learning and speaking to people in IT. For example, there was an exceptional quant in our company who was an IT genius and who could teach exceptionally well. So whenever I got stuck on anything, he would guide me through it. I used to arrive an hour early at work every day just to learn from him, until one day his manager came in to work early and saw us working together. He angrily shouted at the top of his lungs that I should go back to my office and do my own work and not ask his staff to help me with my work. I repeat, I was arriving an hour early just to learn a new skill. P.S. This person was also the same person who said, I am not a chartered accountant, but I have chartered accountants working for me. So we all know the type. So where are we? We are at the point where Excel spreadsheets now have a plug into the data without affecting any of the data. It is read only. As soon as a transaction is processed in the system, example, even Sage, our spreadsheet can then see that transaction. It is downloaded into it. For those who want to know, each set of data is stored in tables in the IT databases under the hood, so to speak. You will not believe how many tables and fields there are, which is why when they need to find the exact definition of interest, they want to know what it is exactly to the point so that they can find it. Because there is interest in advance, interest accrued, penalty interest, interest rate, mark-to-market interest, etc. And how do you expect an IT person who has not been trained in complex accounting and IFRS to understand what we accountants actually mean? Especially when meetings are aggressive, it is easier to find and call for 5 meetings than to sit down and understand exactly what is required. Is it any wonder that business is abrasive, friction is created, and stress and unhappiness at work goes through the roof, resulting in decision makers not getting the information they need to act correctly and swiftly. The reason for this is mainly because of an audit requirement that there must be a segregation of duties. It is not encouraged that one person knows how to do what another person does, because this creates an audit risk. It does, however, create an abrasive silo mentality culture, which is toxic and unhealthy. Again, a topic for another day. The plug of the data into Excel means that we can tie it to the trial balance and link the trial balance to the audited financial statements for the current and the previous years. So when we pull the management accounts, we know we have the latest trial balance, it balances, and we have the accounts as we need it. Make no mistake, the step of getting your PDF annual financial statements will take less than a day, no matter how big or small your company is and how many pages are in that AFS. The link to the trial balance with the data will then be fed into the audited financial statement template, such that we can then get financial reports in the audit AFS format at any time with the press of a button. For example, as of 25 February 2025, when you press the button, all transactions which are recorded in the system up to that point of you pressing the button will reflect and will then become part of your sort and report, meaning that you get real-time data. It is not just a question of linking the right data to the right cell in your template format. It is just a question of doing that, and it is actually not that difficult once you know what you are looking for. Also, the other benefit is that you can now slice and dice in the way you want. So for example, a listed retailer could see the data in AFS format or specific management account format just for the Rivonia branch or any other branch in any other region. You can also, for example, break down the insurance figure in the detailed income statement, which is now, so you can basically see which broker you are paying and what policy makes up what amount. Trust me, it opens up a whole new world of analysis. We once found insurance policies that we didn't even know we had. However, we were diligently monthly paying for those fees and premiums. It was a huge cost saving once we fixed it. So it just indicates how useful this model can be. Incidentally, many other models can be built using the same approach, such as a budget proposal which can produce a 13-page budget to be included in your request for proposal pack within a few hours, which will make you stand out. A payroll model is also being built, since the concept is the same. Data is dumped into Excel and then we can sort names, etc. The best news is that when your auditors come in and see this, they will make the comment that this year you will not have to pay any audit fees. True story. Reason being is that when they come in on day one, your annual financial statements for the year end 2025 in IFRS format will be on the boardroom table ready for them to audit. So they can immediately start preparing their audit files. All sections will be done in the files for them, such as bank balances, agreeing to bank statements, agreeing to the bank and cash figure that goes into the AFS. Also, just for information, in the many tables that I mentioned that are stored under the hood, there is a field where an audit number is given to every transaction. This is undoubtedly where the auditors run their random sampling and choose transactions. So now, when they give you the unique number, you can isolate it and give them the documents in no time. It is a game changer. It is a requirement, absolutely. Finally, just to mention that I am coming in this from all angles. I've worked in the packages, I have reviewed the packages, I have seen it go upline, and I've sat upstairs making decisions on the information. All that this is now doing is giving something a feed into the data which goes into Excel, and we all know Excel. So once we get the data into Excel, once there's a plug into the data, we can design what we want in a format that makes sense to us, such as the Gauteng Randburg branch as at 31 January 2025 or any date, 11 January or 11 February. If we need a total, we will just insert our own sum function in Excel. And if we need VAT, we will just multiply a cell by 15%. Yes, we as accountants do know how to do that. Will we still work with IT? Absolutely. We will all need to work together. But in this way, we can now show them exactly what we want in the format that we want it before you even start the build on your side. It makes things much easier. It is going to make life so much easier and create an environment where all can cooperate without friction. It will help accounting and company decision makers and directors, enabling us to drill down in much more granularity. The model is built and it can be used for very big companies and very small companies. Once implemented, you will be amazed at the difference. P.S. The major accounting packages may snap this up and then charge you a fortune to add it as a software update. So it may be in your interest to get in before this rush, at the cost of less than accounting department lunch, which can be charged to accounting department training. You at least need to look at this. The model is built, and I am so enthusiastic that I would offer it for free. However, I look forward to hearing from you, and please see the link to the